Welcome to another episode of the Roughly Related to Reselling podcast. My name is Perry Phillips. Perry Flips on Instagram with a Z. Pothead Picker on X. Flips and Giggles is the eBay store and also the Whatnot name. And then Flips and Giggles on Facebook. Hope everybody's survived Halloween, whether you have kids or no kids, or are younger and still got to go out and party. I don't know, do people still party on Halloween? It used to be a fun time. We used to do I used to dress up more so when I was younger. And then there's an episode, I don't know if anybody used to watch what was that show, How I Met Your Mother, which was a great show when it first started. If you like sitcoms and shit, I'm not too big on sitcoms anymore, but obviously back in the day when they were more prevalent, some of them were pretty good. Although going back though and watching them, you're like, this was kind of. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. There's an episode of How I Met Your Mother where they do, I can't remember if it's Halloween or St. Patrick's Day. It's one of the two. I can't remember which one it is. But they talk about how it's a certain point it just kind of gets old, and it does. So as an adult, we didn't really go out up until we had kids recently. We weren't really going. I don't think I really went out too much. We would kind of, but we didn't really make it a point. But anyway. So yeah, that's just my whole question. Do people still go out? I'm assuming they do. There was a place in town that had an advertisement for a Halloween party, but they had it on the 1st, so it's kind of at that point, it's not really Halloween anymore. You got to do it Friday. So I don't know why they didn't do it on Friday, but they did it Saturday. I just drank. Somebody left. We had my daughter's birthday this weekend, and somebody left a Celsius, one of those energy drink things, and I don't fucking drink. I drink coffee, but if there's no coffee, I'm fuck it, I just won't drink it. But somebody left that in the fridge, and our coffee was out, and there's no more. My wife has to pick up some more on her way home from work, and I feel like grinding some up just to make one cup of coffee. But I was like, I'll drink this Celsius, and it's 200 milligrams of caffeine. So I drank that not too long ago. So this podcast might be fucking all over the place. Oh, shit. It might be all over the place. I feel like I'm buzzing right now. Vibrating, rather. So Friday, we did a shit ton of trick-or-treating. No sales on Friday. But my oldest is 5 now, and my youngest just turned 3 on Saturday. So she was technically still 2 on Halloween. And so this was the first year that they both kind of understood. Last year, my youngest was a little too young. She went up to the different houses and stuff with my oldest and shit, and she got candy and stuff, but she didn't really know what was going on. This year she after a few houses she was happy Halloween, trick or treat. So she was really cute. She's she always asks whenever my wife gets home, before even I can ask. She walks in the door and she's like, "Hey, Mama, how you doing? How was work?" She's very, so she's kind of a little social butterfly when she wants to be. But, so we started, they do downtown, all the businesses will set up on, they usually do it a different day than Halloween. This year they did it on Halloween for some reason. But they don't shut down the street, but they basically, all the businesses on either side of the main street downtown will be giving out candy. And so you just go and you park and you walk down one side and then back down the other. And, it's a fun little thing. You know, my kid sees people she knows from school, and it's like, you know, a fun little activity. You can bring alcohol if you want to. I don't like, you know, I'm not big, again, I'm not like a big drinker. So I'm not trying to do that. So then we went from there to the town next door, and they do like a parade. So everybody starts at the same spot and then just like walks around at the same time. So it's like a mob of people. And our neighbors go there every year. So we were going to meet them, and they got there before us. So we probably should have communicated better, but we were just running around all day. So we thought they had like, you know, gotten way ahead of us. So we were, you know, trying to rush to catch up to them, and they had slowed down to wait for us. So we just kind of passed them. So we missed that. But that's like, yeah, there was a bunch of houses we skipped, and we like, you know, we gave a shit ton of candy away at my daughter's birthday party. There was like a bunch of teenage kids here. So we didn't really have like goodie bags and shit. So we were like, here, just take as much candy as you want. So we gave a bunch of candy to, you know, the older kids in our family. And there's still a shitload, and I like am eating it more than I should. It's not even I've gotten to the point where I'm just looking at it and I'm like, none of this is like anything I want to eat. So I need to give it to my wife and just put it in her car. Of course, she's back from work today, and then she doesn't work again until the weekend. So it's going to be here for at least another couple days. But yeah, so we went and did that. You walk around, and like there's this one house that hands out, they were handing out wine. So like, I don't know how you can get away with that, because it's like they close the streets down. So maybe that's it, because it's like a private event and they get like permission. I don't know how they're able to do it, because they're just like handing out alcohol. You know what I mean? Like I walked up, and we had the wagon, and my wife walked up there with the girls to get, because they had candy, and then they had one table with candy and then one table with a bunch of wine. And so my wife walked up to them for the candy, and then she went to go get a glass of wine, and she was going to just grab herself one, and because she didn't think I wanted one, but I was like, yeah, I'll have one. We're fucking walking around, whatever. And it's free. And it was like good wine. If it was shit wine, I wasn't going to do it. It was like Woodbridge. So I know Woodbridge is you know, at least a decent wine. So I was like, if it was like, you know, some fucking bullshit from like Walmart or something, I wouldn't have done it. So she grabbed me a glass of the wine, or like a little plastic cup of the wine, and then you just walk around to the other houses. But, you know, most places need like a liquor license to serve alcohol. I know you're just giving it out, but like you have no idea if like somebody's gonna grab it and give it to a kid, or, you know, some kid just sneaks up and fucking grabs it without you looking. You know, because there's a ton of people. Like it gets pretty crazy, and there is a fence. So I don't know. They hand them out, so I don't know how they get away with it. But hey, whatever. I'll take a free glass of wine. So we did that, and then we walked back to our car, and at that point it was like 5:00, and so it was like, you know, we had like a half hour to an hour to kind of kill before trick-or-treating was really started at that, you know, the regular trick-or-treating. And so we went and got dinner at this restaurant that's like up the street from our house, and then you can park in their parking lot, and in that neighborhood is where we walk around anyway. So we just like parked there for dinner, finished dinner, and then went and walked around the neighborhood. And we hit like 3 or 4 streets. It was windy as fuck. There was a shitload of wind, and it was getting a little cold. There weren't a ton of people out. Like last year, it was like there was people driving around in golf carts, and like there was a ton of lights and decorations up. But this year there weren't a ton. Like there weren't a ton of people out this year. Like there was full, because they, you know, people leave candy out. And there was like a few houses that we went to where there was just full buckets of candy that like hadn't been hit yet from any, you know what I mean? Like, and obviously I just told my kids to take one each. But yeah, there was like a bunch that were just, you know, because usually there's at least one bucket that somebody dumps and takes, you know, this like at that time. But yeah, it wasn't bad. So then we walked, you know, did that, and then we walked back, and at that point we had so much fucking candy. My daughter got like one full size, I think it was a Twix, which like 2 years ago we got like full size, shitload of full size. Not that I'm complaining, we don't need it. And so my kid was like, this thing's huge, it's bigger than my hand. I'm like, dude, yeah, you're not eating that one. And it was just like a Twix, you know what I mean? There was a shitload of the small snack size Twix that she could fucking eat. But yeah, we did like three hours total of trick-or-treating. And we went back and we were like, yeah, they're going to go right to bed. They stayed up for a bit and then they finally went down for fucking sleep. But yeah, it was a fun Halloween. I had a good time. We we picked up my kid early too. It was like an early dismissal day. And then when we got home, we went back to the house and we watched some like Disney Junior Halloween themed shows before we went to bed. And then but I was thinking back to, I was talking to my wife because she's a little bit older than me, so she probably doesn't remember this, but there was like a year or 2 years, I don't remember when it was, that Halloween fell on a Friday, and then we went out trick-or-treating and we came back and there was like Boy Meets World and I remember like maybe a few years prior to that, even when they had like TGI Friday, like the earlier TGI Friday with like Full House and I think there's like a step-by-step episode maybe. But yeah, you would get home and you would go watch TGI Friday on fucking ABC when it was like when they had the good shows back in the day. I just was like panicked because I thought I didn't hit record. So yeah, it was a good Halloween. It was a good one. There was I mean, what are you gonna do? The weather wasn't great, but it was all right. And then Saturday, so the next day, we had my daughter's birthday party. Oh no, Sunday. Sorry, Sunday. Saturday was my in-laws came on Saturday. I went out to a sale Saturday morning, and there really wasn't a ton of sales, but every time it gets to be like around this time of year, I always end up finding like jewelry because I have a little bit more time to look. And so I went to this one sale, and like the only thing I saw worth looking at both sales was some jewelry. So I spent $20 at each sale on some jewelry, and got some like 14 karat gold, a bunch of sterling, a couple of like gold plated stuff that's like maybe $30, $40. But yeah, so it wasn't a great like day out, but I probably like $500-$600 worth of jewelry, maybe more. I gotta get it all looked at just to make sure it's all good. There's a place that does it for free because I don't do jewelry enough. Like all of the testers I've looked at online seem like they are like maybe shitty. I don't know. They don't look like, it's all like on Amazon, the ones I've looked at. I don't know. Maybe there's a good place to get a good one, but I don't get enough jewelry. Jewelry is like the first thing that gets picked. Like everybody and their mother looks for jewelry around where I'm at. Like all the old ladies look for jewelry. All of like the old resellers look for jewelry. So if I get to a place and I'm the first one and I'm, I have time to look, but I just never think to be like, hey, do you have jewelry? You know what I mean? Like, and I usually go early and ask for the things that I'm specifically looking for. I need to just add jewelry to the list because I usually get to sales early, and people don't just pull jewelry out like of their back pocket. It's usually in something. So I need to start adding that to the list. I need to like write down a little list of things that I need to ask for. That's what I'm going to do next yard sale season. So, but yeah, there's a sale Friday. So today's Wednesday. So there's a sale Friday that I'm excited to go to. Not necessarily excited. It's like, it's a sale. But we'll see how it goes. It's an estate sale, and it's like a company, but it's not like, I don't know. I couldn't find a ton of, I found a link with a bunch of photos for that sale, but then I can't remember where I found it. It's weird. Like sometimes I just lose links to shit, and then it'll pop up somewhere later. So I have no idea. I don't know if they take it down and then they put it back up. But I have I took a screenshot of the original like listing. So I take them if it's like when it's time like this. But that one I'll probably have to go and wait for, which I haven't done that in a while. So I'm okay with that. My wife is going to have to get the kids up and ready for school by herself. That's doesn't happen like very often, because usually I don't get up that early. Most of the time I'll leave for a sale like after, or like I'll help her get ready and then I'll go. I was supposed to go to a sale last week. What day was it? Maybe Friday. And I just did not want to feel like going. And then Sunday there was a sale and I just didn't feel like going. It's like that time of year where you're just like, it's got to be worth it for me to go, especially if it's a long drive. But this one that's coming up, it's, you know, it might be worth it. If I don't see any more advertisements from it, then it might be worth it, because not a lot of people might know about it. So I just am keeping an eye on it. Sometimes people post about it and they're like, we're going to post updates, and they just never do. And you're like, all right, well, I have the address here from when you posted it, and I'm just going to show up at the time you said. So it's like estate season time, which can be good. I remember I went to an estate sale. This was like maybe half a year after I moved here. And they had posted it. Where did they post it? I can't remember where I found it. I found it somewhere where like nobody else had posted it, like somewhere on Facebook or something. And I went and showed up there, and they had like a couple of like vintage clothing items. Like they had a brand new vintage Dallas Cowboys hat, and then they had a couple other like things like that. So I think I asked like, oh, do you have any like, you know, old t-shirts, this, that, the other? And they're like, well, somebody like was living in the basement and it flooded, but there's like old t-shirts down there. And so like I went down there and there was like Rob Zombie band t-shirts and like a bunch of different like old band t-shirts and cool shirts that were like just a little bit mildewy. So I just like, you know, took them out, washed them out outside, let them sit in the sun, washed them in the washer and shit, and they were fine. So you never know. And I think I paid like $25 for everything. Like I walked out with like a pile of stuff, and they were just like happy to get rid of it. They were like, yeah, we did a sale a couple weeks ago and nobody came. And I'm like, well, I didn't see it advertised, like, you know what I mean? So and there was nobody when I went to that time, you know what I mean? I just like walked around by myself. They had a bunch of like Harley stuff, but yeah, it was you gotta love when they do sales like that, and it's like, you know, actually cheap prices. I actually went to a sale this weekend, or was it maybe it was last weekend? It was a couple weekends ago. So this lady, the address looked familiar, but they had a bunch of stuff, and I was like, there was nothing really going on, but I had to be in that area anyway. So I was like, I'll just swing over to that sale just to see like what you know, if there was a ton of stuff when I went there the first time. So I'm like, maybe there's like, you know, more stuff that's been uncovered and nobody's really gone because they thought that it's been, you know, the same, because it was the same sale or whatever, thought it was the same sale. So I ended up going back to the sale, and there was like nobody there because it was Sunday. And the lady I asked the lady, I was like, hey, did you guys have a sale here a few weeks ago? And she goes, well, yeah. And you can tell she was like about to start talking some shit. And she's like, the estate sale company that did it like had stuff priced way too high. She was like, there was nothing sold. She was like, some of the stuff sold, you know, there were some deals that people got on stuff. And she's like, but they just had had things priced really high, blah, 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 blah. And I actually go to that estate sale company when they have them, because they seem like they're usually like reasonably priced. So I usually will go to that one because they'll make deals and stuff too. But yeah, some of their prices will show originally that they're high. So that turns a lot of people off right away. You know what I mean? Not everybody thinks that you can ask for a deal at an estate sale. So, but it was just funny because I was like, I know I've been here before. And she's like, yeah, the estate sale company sucked and didn't do their job. I'm like, yeah. Like, that's why, I mean, that's the thing, though. Some people probably want you to try to charge more, and then some people are just like, just get rid of it. So, I mean, it's kind of on the estate sale company. You got to kind of ask them, like, hey, how do you want us to get rid of this? Like, I've done it for my family where they're like, we just want to get shit gone. Like, did one where we had to get rid of stuff by, like, a certain day. So we did everything super cheap, and then the last day we did everything free. So, yeah. Give me 1 second. I just got to pause this for real quick. All right, I'm back. So, so that's it. Estate sale season. Anyway, I'm back. I just had to run up the stairs to check on my kid. Couldn't tell if she had shit her pants or not. This kid, man. Although my other one was like 4, I think, when we got her finally potty trained, but it's a fucking battle, man. Anyway, so, oh yeah, it's like 2 more days and it'll be 2 years of this podcast, which I think is officially my longest podcast, which I think it's by like a mile, because I think I did the last 2 for a year and then I stopped because I was doing 2 podcasts for a while, and then COVID happened, and it was harder to get into like people to meet up, you know what I mean, to do interviews, because I was trying to do interviews in person rather than like Zoom, and then it just became everything had to be Zoom, and I hated that. So I stopped doing that podcast. And then I just did one podcast for a little bit with my buddy. That one it started with another guy, and then like he just disappeared. And then I had another guy on, and then another guy. And then I just ended it. That was it. I ended it. And then this one started 2 years ago. I think it was November 7th. It would be November 7th, 2023. Is that if my math's correct? But I'm terrible at that shit, so who knows? I might have messed up the date. But I'm pretty sure. I checked. I know it is November 7th. I'm pretty sure it's 2023. 2 years. Yeah, that would be 2 years. But I still haven't got to, what would it be? It would be 104, I think, would be like 200. 104 would be an episode a week. Because there was a couple weeks where I missed and didn't do a podcast. I got behind. But I think that was when my kids were like a lot younger. So I wanted to try to do it every week. I've been trying to be consistent every Wednesday. But, fucking stupid speech class. Speaking of that class, I have an update for you on that class. So I finished with like a B. I think it was just a solid B. And I like turned in my stuff late because I wasn't on the class, like the page for the class. It said that everything, like the final day of the class was like May 14th. I'm like, well, this class ends like in a week or 2, so that's obviously wrong. So then like I went to go look at the date that the other stuff was due, and it's like for the final week, it was like, you get the final week comes out on like Monday. So I checked it on Monday, and that stuff was all supposed to be due like 2 days from then. So from that Monday to that Tuesday, or that Wednesday, the final week. Like normally you had a full week and a half like to basically do your work. So this was like went from a week and a half to like 2 days. And then the dates were wrong. So I just like, I fucked up. I got the wrong information, put in, so I submitted shit late. And I don't even think it affected my grade that much. But then there was one assignment that I was missing. So I reached out to the professor to be like, hey, I didn't get a credit for this, blah, blah, blah. So like we went back and forth. She was kind of shitty to me. I was kind of shitty to her. Not really, but like, I just told her, I was like, hey, just for future reference, like the dates are wrong on the coursework stuff. So like, it is a little confusing. So just to avoid this in the future, like your dates are incorrect. Like, and, so then, so she finally gets back to me, 'cause she keeps going like, using like these short ass answers, like not even answering the question I'm asking. I'm like, this bitch fucking teaches communication. Like, and she's fucking terrible at communicating right now. And so she so she finally like sends me a screenshot and she's like, yeah, this is what you sent me. And it was just like, it was not what I had done. I did the whole assignment, but somehow it was like an early copy of the assignment, so I submitted the wrong assignment. And so that's why I got a 0 on it. But if I had seen that earlier, I would have gotten like credit for it. But again, I don't think it was that much. I don't think it was that much of my grade, to be honest with you. I don't think so. So, and it's annoying because I did do it. So then I had to email her back, like, oh, sorry, I did do that assignment, but I submitted the wrong one. So I accept my grade. Sorry. See you later. Bye. So, but yeah. But, you know, you would think for a fucking communication class, you would be a little bit more communicative. It's like the following class that I just started is like already miles ahead as far as like how not easy and as far it is in terms of like, you know, being easy to pass, but like easy to like manage your time and like everything's all streamlined into one place. The communication class, like I think I've said this before, was fucking everywhere. So it was just a shitload of like places that you had to do submit your assignments. Like, why the fuck do I need to? And one of the assignments I got a 0 for was like submitted on a different like spot and was supposed to be in a different spot. Or it just none of it made sense. So I'm like, for a communication class, you got to figure out your communication. But I didn't do the survey, so I should have done the survey. And I didn't. So you live and you learn. Anyway, let me check and see. I think I've got some stuff to talk about. Oh yeah, dude, I forgot. I should have talked about this earlier before I lost everyone. Tonight, if you're listening on Wednesday when this is coming out, we are doing another Whatnot auction. We've got video games tonight, so that's the Flips and Giggles Whatnot page. We've got a ton of video games from like the last 3 yard sales I went to. I even sold some of them to a friend of mine and pulled out like a ton of them, and there's still a ton of video games left. So yeah, tonight it's at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, and yeah, we're gonna have a bunch of different consoles. All of this stuff is gonna be tested. Yeah, so we've got this one. I'm not sure what we're gonna do next week, but I've got a ton of coins that like I don't know what to do with, and I think I'm going to do some Whatnot auctions on coins and see how it goes, because, you know, I've got a ton of them that I got at like a estate sale a few years back, and I had put them somewhere. I can't even remember where I put them, but I put them in this spot, and I just never did anything with them. I just kept forgetting. I kept moving them to different places, and they're also like, it's also in like, you know, something that's not easy to manage. It's like a little cardboard, like a top to a box. I just put them all in there because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And then I forget about it. I saw it the other day. I was like, oh, I can sell these on Whatnot. I bet. So I don't know how they're going to do. We might make a bunch of money. I mean, if they're like, I remember looking them up in the past and being like, oh, these aren't worth like fucking selling on eBay. Because I think they were like, you know, a couple dollars a piece at the time. But like, if I'm selling them on Whatnot, you know, $1 starts and they're worth more than $1 each, then I think they'll definitely sell. So you know, I don't know how it's gonna go. We'll see. But I'm gonna have to get a manicure if I do that one, because I'm gonna have to be like holding things up close with my fingers. My hands are all fucked up still from hand, foot, and mouth. I've just got like these like bumps that just like, well, there's a couple that went away from yesterday. But yesterday I had a bunch of these bumps that just like have like popped up. They're not even bumps. They're like just like, I don't know, where the things were on my hand. There's like these little dry areas that like almost like blisters without like, it's really annoying. So I think it's finally starting to go away. I was getting them on my feet and shit too. It's I don't want to get that again. Definitely not going to eat any sneezed on eggs. Although we had to go to the doctor again today. Today was just a checkup. But yeah, that's always fun. So we did that. Yesterday I was like a little fucking taxi driving around. So getting a little bit used to it. I'm sure it only gets worse as I get older with my kids. They're gonna have more and more places to go. And then the other thing I was thinking about, I don't remember when this was, but it was like when we first moved into our house, I think. And I just was thinking about this the other day because it's like basically an unsolved mystery that's just like in my life. I'm just living amongst somebody who's left something for me. So somebody left like a note 5 years ago. It had to be about 5 years ago. It said something about like the driving, like slow down or something. And I'm not like somebody who speeds through my neighborhood. And you really can't speed through my neighborhood because it's a lot of like rocky and like bumpy roads. So you really can't speed. So I don't remember when it happened, but we got like a letter in the mailbox. I think my mom checked the mail and she was like, yeah, there was a letter addressed to your car. And it was like, slow down or something like that. And we never found out who it was. It would be funny if it was like my neighbors that I'm friends with now. It's like 5 years ago. They put a note in our thing to tell us to slow down. And when he went to stop me to invite me over to hang out that time, he was actually stopping me to be like, hey, are you the one that's been speeding down the street? So, but no, I don't know who it is. I still don't know. So I just live amongst somebody who thinks I'm just like this reckless speed demon. I mean, I haven't got another note, so maybe they, have changed their tune. But you would think you would apologize, be like, hey, sorry, I got you wrong. I didn't realize that you don't drive like a fucking maniac. Or maybe they still do think I drive like a maniac. Or maybe it just didn't actually happen. My mom said she got the letter, so maybe she just made it up to fuck with me. I don't think she would, but she doesn't have that type of humor. But yeah, that shit's crazy. Just living amongst somebody who's just like has basically like come into my home, I know it's just my fucking mailbox. When it first happened, I was like livid. I remember thinking like, I looked online. I'm like, is it a crime to fucking put something into somebody's mailbox, like a note? And I can't remember what it said, but I was like looking to like try to find a way to like figure out who it was. And then I was going to put cameras in there to like figure out who it was and shit. Yeah, I was pissed. I was like, I'm going to get cameras. I'm going to put them in this fucking mailbox. But again, I don't even think it was directed at me. I had a friend at the time who had driven my car, but I don't know how soon after that was, because like he drove it cross country for me. So I don't know how soon after that was, but I still don't think like, I don't remember when I would have been driving super fast. Because it's impossible. It's such a small area to drive, and it's super rocky. But yeah, that's enough of that. We don't need to keep talking about that. I had a server nightmare the other day. I don't know if you've ever had an old job that you'd like have a dream about. Server nightmares, I think, are particularly like common, I guess. I don't know, because my wife used to work in serving, and she's like said she's had them, even since she's been doing it, being a nurse. So I don't know if that's like the one job that people get that type of thing. I don't know if I've ever had a job where I had a server nightmare like that. Like, to give you an example, like if you're a server, it's like you've had dreams before where you there was one where I was working in like a mall food court as a server, and it was just nonstop people asking me for stuff. So I'd get one thing that I couldn't get back to the kitchen. I just kept going to all of these tables, going back and forth. and I couldn't get caught up on all my shit because I couldn't get to the back tables or to the back room or whatever to do all my shit. So then, at one point you just go, you realize something in the dream isn't right. Well, at least I do. And I'm like, oh wait, I don't work in a food court. And then it just kind of kicks me out of that shit and I wake up or but I had one recently and I can't even remember what it was because I don't think it was like even that serious. I think it was just that I was working in like a restaurant. I think that's all it was. Like it wasn't even a bad one. I think I was just working in a bar and I did the same thing. I was just like, you don't work in a bar anymore. And I like woke up. But yeah, there was one year when I was working at this resort, the resort that Bill Gates had a fucking house next to. He they used to have like this giant 4th of July party. And so they would have, there was a couple of years that I would go there to party because it was like such a good time. And then there was a couple of years there that I was like, I'm just going to work it because, I'll be off early enough to where I can still hang out and like watch the fireworks after. And, but the little register thing where the little drink tickets would come up when I was bartending. So we worked at it was a circle bar. Like it was a complete circle at this bar. So like there was 2 of us. One of us was on the well and the other one was handling the customers. So we had the other dude handle the customers because I was just faster at making drinks. And he was like, good at like bullshitting with people. And not that I wasn't good at that. I just, at that point in my career, I just did not want to do that. Like I didn't want to talk to people. I was so over bartending. I was so over listening to sad people fucking talk about their fucking problems and they're like, think that you're their therapist. There's this one guy who definitely killed himself. He was a regular of mine. And he would always be like, yeah, I think I'll go kill myself today. I'm like, oh, okay, man. And then he never killed himself. He would come in all the time. But then the place that we had ended up closing down. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's probably going to kill himself. But he probably found another bar and went there and bugged them and probably, threatened to off himself once a week until he fucking finally died from a natural cause, like a heart attack or something from drinking so much. Anyway, that was a hard left turn. Sorry, I didn't mean to get into all that. But the fuck was I talking about? I don't even remember what the fuck I was talking about. Anyway, server nightmares. Yeah. So yeah, they're bad. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if I finished talking. The one with the circle. There was the drink tickets that would come up from the bar, like the machine. I just kept hearing that. I was trying to sleep one time, and I literally could not stop hearing it, like the sound, because it was just burned into my brain from hearing it so much that night. That was the craziest thing ever. That was the worst. I couldn't sleep that night because all I could hear was and I couldn't get it to stop. Like as soon as I would lay down and try to relax, I just would hear this fucking noise from it was just like the drink ticket machine, just whatever I don't even remember what it is now. I probably could if I like got into my subconscious. That'll be my next server nightmare. I'll just hear that. It'll wake me up. But yeah. So that was that. I always say that stuff like that when I forget what I was actually talking about, but I knew I was just on to the next thing. I was going into the grocery store yesterday, and it was me and my daughter. I dropped my oldest off at school. And so I get out, and there's like these 2 ladies in the parking lot, like 2 older white ladies. And they definitely had a look like they definitely looked like they were libs. But they looked like they were very nice ladies, but they were also in a parking lot. So they didn't say anything to me when I got out initially, because I kind of looked to see like what they were doing. And then I get my kid out, and the lady's like, "Excuse me, sir." And she like starts talking to me, and they like start walking over to me, and I'm like, I have my kid in my hand. So I'm like, I know they're 2 old ladies, but like they could be trying to distract me while I have my kid right now. And so they're like, "Oh yeah, we're just handing out gift cards to help people pay for groceries today." And I was like, and it caught me off guard, because normally I probably like, I'll just take it. I don't really need it. but like they caught me so off guard with like their approach that I was like, holy shit. Like, so then I walked in and there was this older black guy who was like, he was in like the parking lot. Oh, my kid's singing. He was in the parking lot near me at the time, and I was going up to get the shopping cart, and I turn around, and he's got the card, and he's like smacking it into his hand, and we make eye contact and like smile, and he's like, "Hey, that was $50." So yeah, there was $50 on the card. I don't know if I said that or not. So he's like, "Yeah, that was $50," and I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Shit, I'm about to use this right now." So he ended up going in too at the same time. But yeah, $50 gift card. It was two $25 gift cards. So they gave that. I was like, you probably could have cut it down to like $25 a person and like given it to more people. But I'm assuming that the reason she gave it to me was because I had a kid, and him because he was black. It's like, because she didn't give it to me when I first got out. She's probably like, oh, this guy's a fucking white guy. But if I looked more Spanish, like I am actually Spanish, if I looked more Spanish, she might have given it to me. If I had my mustache, for sure. If I still have my mustache right now, it's a beard. I look like a homeless person right now, so I'm surprised that she didn't. She probably saw me as like a white homeless guy, and she's like, "Oh, he'll just buy drugs." And then I got my kid out, and she was like, "Oh, well, he's got a kid. All right, he looks like he probably needs this money," which I do. My wife does not. So now I was paying. I've talked before about how I'm a broke reseller. So yeah, just giving out gift cards. I was like, hell yeah. So I called my mom and I was like, you should go down there. She's like, you should give it to the food pantry. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I need to feed my kids. Fuck are you talking about? I don't ever say, if somebody hands me money in a parking lot, I'm not going to like sit there to ask them like why. I'm just like, especially if it's a gift card for that place. You know what I mean? It's already sketch because it's in a parking lot. I'm holding my kid. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, did I just actually sell you my kid for 2 gift cards? Like, did you just do some like weird parking lot transaction? Like, there's different rules. So, anyway, I don't know. And then I'm going to, there's a Hall of Fame induction thing for like athletes at the school I went to high school at. And I'm not being honored. I was not invited as an honoree. But it's a dude I played football with at like midget football league, like when you could still call it midget football league. And then like in through high school. So yeah, I think there's a few people from my old high school football team that are supposed to be going. So that should be fun. I haven't seen most of those people since high school, like maybe randomly, but I don't think so. So yeah, I had to buy a ticket already. I did that. I already registered for my classes for next year. I did that like right away because there's only so many spots for like the online courses, and I'm not trying to drive into school. I'm supposed to be done next fall, which is nice. I've got like just like this next semester and then next one, and that should be good. And one of my classes I'm pretty much done with right now, my marketing class. I just have a paper due on December 7th, but that's all I have to do is work on that paper. So it should be smooth sailing for the end of these classes. My fantasy football team is I don't know. I'm number 1. I'm still number 1, like by just a small margin. I need some help, and I don't know how I'm going to get it. I'm ready to give up some picks. So it's going to be an interesting stretch run for the playoffs to see if I actually can manage to stay in it and do something. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention this when I was talking about Halloween. Some of the candies that people were giving out were kind of like I would have preferred razor blades to some of them. Somebody gave a kid a Charleston Chew, and I used to love Charleston Chew when I was younger, but now as an adult, I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? There's like this white nougat or some shit. It's not even nougat. It's just like some like chewy shit, and then like the thin layer of chocolate. And I used to love those things. I would get them at Boy Scout camp. They would have this little shack stand that would have like different candy bars and shit, and they would have Charleston Chew. And I would fucking love that shit. And it's so gross now. I would rather you give my kid edibles. But yeah, Halloween, I mean, now it's like into November. So I'm trying to start sourcing Christmas stuff. I want to do like a Christmas whatnot auction. And then I think we're gonna do a like a garage sale one, just with a bunch of different shit. So I don't know. I've been trying to find a storage unit that, like, you know, looks like it'll be. It's hard because we don't have a ton of space. So like, you know, we either have to like bring it and leave it outside, which we have an area that's covered. But if it rains, you know, it's windy enough, it can get wet. But if it's just raining and it's not windy, it's fine. But when it's windy and shit gets wet everywhere under there. So I don't know. I'm actively looking for a storage unit to buy to get some more merchandise. Because we have like a ton, like I have some stuff that we could do. Like we could do a Transformers one, but they're not like, I have a feeling people would be looking for the older ones. And like these ones are like 2000 era, like the Y2K kind of era. So I don't know how that's gonna go. But yeah, I have a ton of toys. I was kind of waiting towards this part of the year to start listing those, because during, like, you know, this is gonna be the busiest time of the year, which is nice. So I need to order boxes. That's like on my list. I keep forgetting to order boxes for like the free priority boxes. Sorry, I'm going to their website right now before I forget. So yeah, you can get free shipping supplies from USPS. It's like the priority stuff usually, but like, you know, I use a ton of the are they not free anymore? Free shipping supplies. Okay, they are. Fuck, I thought they weren't free. So yeah, I use a ton of like the large priority mailboxes for whatnot now, just because their shipping is fucking so stupid. It's like either ground or priority, and then you don't ever have the option for FedEx. Plumber's coming in an hour. Oh my god. Well, I'm not gonna be here in an hour. I'm going to get my kid. So oh shit, I was just going to talk about something and I just got fucking distracted. My mom texted me about some nonsense. Fuck, I just had something good to talk about. What the fuck was it that I was going to talk about? I don't know. Let me look and see if I wrote it down. Oh man. We did a fun run at my kid's school. And it was like, they just basically, we went there and they all run around the gymnasium. So they just like kind of like start off slow and then they start running. And, you know, they're just getting them more and more jacked up. And so like, I'm like, one of these kids is going to eat shit. And then sure enough, this little kid falls right in front of me, smashes his face on the fucking gymnasium floor. The teacher's like, oh, are you okay? He's fucking crying like. And there was another kid that was just like walking and crying. I think he was just crying because he had to walk. He was like a heavier kid. He was just sobbing. I'm like, whose idea was this? It's like the fun run. And then all I could think was like that movie that just came out, The Long Walk or whatever, the Stephen King, where like if they stop walking, they get like shot or whatever. I was just like, what kind of fucking Hunger Games shit is this that they got these kids doing? It's like, because it was for like the fundraiser for like the, you know, the boosters or whatever. And you know, it's like when we were younger, you used to get like prizes and shit for like selling the most. Now they're like everybody just participates in a fun run. And it's like, oh, okay. And so like the whole thing was just kind of silly. And then they're just like, yeah, it's a fun run where everybody just runs around. And my kid at one point, she's just like walking, and you could tell she's just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, why are we just walking around in circles? And it went on for like a half an hour where they just ran these kids around in a circle. And they're like, yep, this is the fun run. So it was supposed to be outside. So I don't know if it would have been different outside, but it was just kind of like an insane thing to watch. I was like, I was just waiting for it. I'm like, one of these kids is gonna eat shit, and then sure enough, boom, face first into the gym. So yeah, it was kind of and of course those fucking bleachers are so uncomfortable. You're just like, it was not the most ideal situation. Fuck, I wish I could remember what I was gonna talk about. I just had something on the tip of my tongue. And my fucking mom texted me, and it made me forget what I was going to say. Shit. There's a estate sale coming up this Friday. I already said that I have to like get on the list. But it's like, yeah, it's one of those sales that I'm not really sure if they're going to have more than that's pictured. Because sometimes you go to a sale and they just have like what's pictured, and then sometimes you go there and they have way more than's pictured. It's always a crapshoot. What time is it? I've got probably like 9 minutes left until an hour. Can I come up with anything to talk about in the next 9 minutes that won't sound like I'm just completely wasting everybody's time? And you can see I'm speaking slowly so I can try to remember what it was I was talking about. Was I talking about the Hall of Fame introduction thing? I don't know, but that's in my own old hometown too, so that should be interesting. Plus, it's always like, as I've got, to be honest with you, this is like real shit. Like, I've done more things, not like done more things, but I've said yes to more things just so I can like have shit to talk about on the podcast. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, yeah, I'll go to this. And I agreed to it and bought my ticket. And then I was like, immediately was like, fuck, I got to get out of this and just not do this. But then I was like, well, it's going to be good for like the podcast. It's got to be good for at least 20 minutes, if all goes to plan. And now if it's just like a good time. But you never know. You know what I mean? I don't know who's going to be there. I don't know. People always say they're going to go to something and then they don't. It might just be me and the dude who invited me. But yeah, it was funny because the dude who's getting into the Hall of Fame or whatever, he was fucking fast, man. I remember we used to have to run against him because he was like a year older than me. And so, but he seemed like an adult. When you were that age and you played football with a dude and he was like a year older than you, you might as well. He might have been 2 years older than me, but still, like 2 years older, and he seemed like he was a fucking adult. You know what I mean? Just like dudes who just ran like fucking men against boys. But yeah, I remember I had to run against him a few times, but he was so fast that like we used to do these drills where we'd have to lay down on the ground and then get up and run into each other. But he was so fast and like athletic and shit that by the time you were just like getting off the ground, he was already running towards you. Because if he was running full speed at you, and like back in the day, you could just run full speed and do like, we used to do a drill called bull. I think was it called bull in the pen or something like that. Maybe it was bull in the pen or bull in the cage, something like that. And everybody would line up in a circle around the person in the middle, and the coach would give everybody a number. So like you'd each get a number, and then he'd have you all go into different places, and he would call out the different numbers. So he would be like, 25, whatever the number was. and that person could be behind you, on the side of you, like wherever, and you basically had to keep your feet moving and spin around in a circle and figure out where the person was going to be running full speed into you while you're just standing there in the middle like a fucking idiot. So like you could, there's absolutely no way they still do that. Maybe some places like in the South, but there's no fucking way that they're allowed to do that anymore. Anyway, going back to my other point, the other drill that we were doing. So this one, the drill that I would do with this dude, or that I remember specifically, was you would lay down on the ground and he would have to like run at you, but you would take you so long to get up, especially if you were fat. Or the trick was to get up slower, because then by the time he was like running at you, the impact wouldn't be that big because you were like barely up. And then you would just fall down on the ground and like, but yeah, getting hit when you were younger by kids who were older than you, it was just like, fuck, dude. There was one guy who was like a psycho. He ended up, this was in high school. He ended up going, he was older than me by a few years, and he ended up going into the Marines. And like, he would fucking just like completely fucking smash you into, like, when you were a scout team, you know what I mean? He was the center. So, he wasn't like a big dude. He was like, you know what I mean? For like a center, I mean, he was like a high school center. So like, but like if you see a center in the NFL, you'd be like, oh, this guy's not an NFL center. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that big, but he was a fucking psycho. He would like grab the bag, because you would have to hold the bag, and they would run up and hit the bag, and they were supposed to just like, make their block. He would just fucking hit kids into the ground every time. So he didn't want to hold the bag against this dude. And I got like drunk one time, and I saw him at a bar, and I like went up to talk to him, because he was like a couple years older than me, so he probably didn't really remember me. But like there's a few times where we like shoot the shit, and he just did not remember me at all. And I was like, oh yeah, well, we played football, whatever. It was just like one of those awkward interactions where you're like, so I'm hoping that doesn't happen this time. They're like, who are you? Like, I was on the football team. Like, I did play. I wasn't like a complete bench warmer. So we'll see. That's why I wanted to state right off the bat, it wasn't, the Hall of Fame induction was not for me. It's definitely not for me. Yeah, so just remember tonight, that's probably going to wrap this up here. I don't really have anything else to talk about, I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think I have anything to talk about. So Whatnot auction tonight at 8:30. Flips and Giggles is the username. If you want, I can, I'm going to post a link. It should be posted anyway a few times, but there'll be a link to sign up and get $15 to spend on the show. Even if you don't want to spend any money, or come, just come hang out. It helps me out. And then you can share it. If you're in there, sharing it helps. So it helps the algorithm. We've got a ton of video games tonight, so I don't think we're going to have an issue moving them all. Last time we sold out of video games, and this time I think that we'll probably do the same. So I actually have another big box. I took a big box of video games that aren't going to be in this sale to sell on eBay, because those are like the heavier hitters, and it's all from the same collection. So there's actually a good amount of stuff in there still. That are, like between $20 to $25 is usually like the value of stuff. Some of them is cheaper. And then there'll be some empty case slots, and it'll be a bunch of stuff. There's some accessories and some random shit. So I'm excited for that. That's again tonight, 8:30 Wednesday. And if you're too late and you missed this one, there's an auction every Wednesday. So every Wednesday is usually when we do it at 8:30 p.m. I've thought about switching the day, just because it doesn't really matter like doing it consistently. So I've thought about, once football's done, is switching it to Thursday, because right now it's like Thursday night football I feel like would compete. And then the weekends, I mean, I could move to a weekend at some point once, we have a bigger following. But we're growing slowly. I'm hoping to get up over 400 followers by the end of this next sale. So we'll see how that goes. I actually have credit so I can buy. I'm going to buy some more advertising for the next show. Yeah, so make sure check that out. And again, if you like the show, this podcast, subscribe, share it, tell a friend. The 100th episode is going to be coming up at some point. I know I said the last time that we were on the 90th episode, but the 90th episode will be like the next big milestone, I guess, and then 100 would be after that. So I think this is either 80. I think this is 84, episode 84, if I remember correctly. But it's been 2 years of the podcast. So if you've been listening since the first one, or like, halfway through, I appreciate it. So we're just gonna keep on doing it, and I know I've said it a million times. There will be video. It's not really necessary because I'm just fucking sitting here most of the time in my pajamas. But I guess that helps my exposure. Dude, look at that time, and my kid's fucking calling me right now. So on that note, thank you if you've been listening to 2 years of the Roughly Related Reselling podcast. And if you haven't, just subscribe and make sure you hit the notification so you can get every episode when they come out. Thank you. Have a good week. Bye.